egregious act that Stephanie White committed last night was the benching of Red Kryptonite herself. And Lord knows, we could have used some kryptonite against the Mystics last night. Could we not? Question mark, Stephanie White. She benched Chloe Bibby, who all Chloe Bibby does is come in the game and knock down like 3 big threes. That's all she does.
Stephanie White just couldn't help herself. Instead of focusing on coaching, she went personal, and Fever fans are furious. Her comments about Chloe Bibby's benching, nasty, dismissive, flat-out insulting. And trust me, this runs deeper than a single game. So let's get into what's really unfolding here. Quick question. Do you think White is protecting Caitlin Clark or quietly sabotaging her own team?
I mean, Chloe Bibby should be on this team next year. All right? Can we say the same for the coach? Question mark?
Let's set the stage. The Indiana Fever are once again stuck in the center of a storm. And no, not the Seattle Storm. I'm talking about a mess of their own making. Because when you dropping games to teams you should be handling, when you teetering on the edge of falling out of the playoffs, the very last thing you need is a coach who starts picking battles with her own roster. But here we are. She does.
Sometimes she knocks down 2 in like a minute and a half. I mean, she's literally outscoring the minutes she plays. Did she think the scoring was so great last night that she thought she ought to just ride the bench? Don't worry. Stephanie White has made comments. Don't worry. We'll get to the Fever fans that noticed it last night.
Chloe Bibby. Remember the name, because fans sure do. They don't call her Red Kryptonite for nothing. Every time she steps on the floor, instant offense follows. 2 threes in a single minute. She's done it. Big spark off the bench when the starters look flat. That's her lane. She's not asking for 35 minutes. She's not demanding the spotlight. She just checks in, does her job, and actually helps the team. Wild concept, right? A player who scores being allowed to score. But apparently, that's too much for Stephanie White. Because in a game where the Fever's offense looked like it was running on Windows 95, Chloe never left the bench. 0 minutes. Warm-up still on. And when reporters pressed her, the excuse. Chef's kiss pathetic. Defensive matchups, she said. Some of our switches. Really? That's the story? That the one player who actually knocks down shots can't be trusted because she might, miss a rotation? Meanwhile, half the roster is getting torched anyway. But sure, keep your shooter glued to the bench. Genius move.
I didn't like the defensive matchups. You know what Fever fans don't like? Losing to bum-ass teams. That's what they don't like. That's what Fever fans don't like.
Fans caught it right away. Social media lit up instantly. 0 minutes for Chloe Bibby. That was the nastiest of all nasty work and one of the most liked comments of the night. And it wasn't wrong, because at this point, it doesn't feel like coaching anymore. It feels personal, like White's carrying a grudge against Chloe, and instead of doing what's best for the team, she's letting her ego call the shots. And fans, they are over it.
Whatever word you'd use for it that happened in the second half of this game, what led to that to you?
I think we over-dribbled at times. Our off-ball movement wasn't there. We did a lot of standing. It's almost like we gave the ball to Kelsey and just tried to watch her work. And that's not when we're at our best. I mean, yes, certainly we want to have the ball in our hands, but we've got to continue to get movement with and without the basketball. It was getting stuck. I mean, we want to play 0.5 to 1 second basketball, and we weren't. And it's got to get moving. And, you know, it hurts. I mean, think if we had 8 turnovers for 13 points in the second half as well. So we didn't take care of it.
This is the kind of move that makes people question everything. Is Stephanie White even trying to win games? Or is she so trapped inside her little defensive philosophy that she can't see what's right in front of her? The Fever have talent. On paper, they are one of the most stacked rosters in the league. Caitlin Clark in her second year. Aaliyah Boston. Kelsey Mitchell. Sophie Cunningham. Chloe Bibby. Lexi Hull. That's not a group that should be scraping by. That's a roster built to sit in the top half of the standings. But instead, they are clinging by a thread, just one loss away from slipping out of playoff position.
You plugging her in to try and spark the offense a little bit, or what was the decision behind not playing her tonight?
Yeah, there were some thoughts. I think that it matched up defensively more than anything with the way that we were going to try to play them, or in some of our switches and things like that. So that was mostly the reason.
And here's the kicker. Fans aren't just mad about Chloe's minutes. They are connecting the dots. They are starting to believe Stephanie White cares more about pushing her own agenda than protecting her players, especially Caitlin Clark. Because let's be real, if Clark wasn't here, if she hadn't turned this franchise into must-see TV, how long would White even last? Her seat would be hotter than a folding chair in July. But with Clark's name on the marquee, White gets cover. She can make nasty calls, bench contributors, and brush it off with vague coach speak. Meanwhile, the star she's supposed to protect is the one left carrying the weight of those choices. And fans see it all. They see Clark running herself into the ground to cover for pieces her coach won't play. They see Sophie wide open in the corner while Mitchell takes contested step backs. They see BBY rutting on the bench while the Fever offense sputters. And after every loss, they see White, arms crossed, looking like a substitute teacher who's already checked out. That's the image. And it's ugly.
And then just with the rotation, was it just those eight or seven that you ran with? Was it just they were flowing well and you wanted to just leave that going, or what was the thought there?
Yeah, I think some of it was defense. Being able to execute the type of defensive coverages that we wanted to have against this, the way that they play. Rebounding was some of that too, making sure that we had people that were in position when we were in some of our switches to rebound. I think the biggest thing for us on the defensive end was just too much fouling. And then, offensively, we went with that small lineup at the end to create a little bit more space. But you got to be able to give your chance by taking care of the ball. And in the second half, we didn't do a good enough job of that.
The irony in all this, the league is begging for credibility. Caitlin Clark was supposed to be the bridge, the one who brought in millions of new fans, and she's doing her part. Ratings are climbing, tickets are sold out, Fever games are trending everywhere. But when casual fans tune in and see this kind of chaos, coaches sabotaging their own rosters, players benched for no reason, stars left out to dry, it makes the entire league look like a circus. And no, that's not on Caitlin. That's not even on the players. That's leadership. That's Stephanie White. And let's rewind, because this isn't the first time White has pulled this stunt. Random benchings, strange rotations, refusal to ride the hot hand. It's a pattern. And the excuse? Always the same. Matchups? Let me translate. What that really means is, I didn't feel like it, and I don't want to be questioned. But fans are questioning. Loudly. They are done pretending this is normal coaching. They are calling it what it really is, nasty. And the fallout? It's real. Fever fans aren't just mad in the moment. They are saying things like, I'm done watching until Caitlin comes back. Oh, I can't take this anymore. That's how you lose a fan base. That's how momentum flips into apathy. Because if people believe games are being decided by personal grudges instead of basketball, why should they keep investing? Let's look at the numbers. The Fever are a single spot away from falling out of the playoffs. One. And it's not because they lack talent. It's because their coach keeps sabotaging herself. Meanwhile, expansion squads like Golden State are out here embarrassing established franchises. Their coach runs a system, maximizes her players, and has her team punching above its weight. That's coaching White is doing, that's malpractice. And I don't say that lightly, because when you've got Caitlin Clark, the most hyped prospect in decades, when you've got Aliyah Boston, the reigning rookie of the year, when you've got shooters like Sophie and Chloe, and you're still losing to teams with half your firepower, that's on you. That's not defensive matchups. That's not bad luck. That's coaching failure. Period. Here's another wrinkle fans are talking about. Is there an agenda at play? Some are saying White clearly favors certain players while freezing out others. Some are even going as far as to claim it's personal bias, that she doesn't like certain personalities or certain backgrounds. I'm not here to throw around accusations without proof. But I will say this, when your decisions make so little sense on the court, people will start looking for off-court explanations. And once that narrative sticks, good luck shaking it. So here we are. Fever fans are fuming. The team is trending. Not because of a big win, but because of the nastiest benching of the season. And Stephanie White, she's out here acting like it's just another day at the office. Caitlin Clark is supposed to be the face of the league. And instead of building a system around her that actually works, her own coach is undermining the very pieces that could help her succeed. If that's not sabotage, I don't know what is. Now here's where it gets even nastier. Because once the Chloe Bibby benching story took off, it wasn't just random fans complaining about minutes. It became a symbol of something bigger, the cracks in the Indiana Fever organization. And the name everyone kept circling back to, Caitlin Clark. Let's be real. When you bench a spark like BBY, when you toss out a defensive matchup excuse that fools nobody, you're not just punishing one player. You're punishing Clark. You're stripping away one of the few weapons she has to fight with teammates who can actually hit shots when Clark gets doubled. Every team in the league has cracked the code. Trap Caitlin high, force the ball out of her hands, and dare the Fever's supporting cast to beat you. That's been the book since her rookie year. And guess what? It works. But it only works if the Fever's shooters are stuck on the bench. If BBS out there, suddenly that gamble looks dangerous. Suddenly the corners aren't free real estate. Suddenly Clark has options. And yet, Stephanie White still yanked the cord. And the message that sends, it's brutal. It screams, we'd rather lose sticking to my stubborn plan than win letting Clark shine. No wonder fans are screaming sabotage. Just picture the optics. Caitlin Clark is the reason the Fever went from afterthoughts to prime time almost every night. She's the reason jersey sales blew up. She's the reason the league is finally living on ESPN, FS1, even morning shows that never once cared. And still, her coach is making life harder. Instead of surrounding Clark with shooters, White is squeezing the floor. Instead of maximizing her, she's minimizing her. And if you're Caitlin, how do you not take that personally? And oh, the fan theories, they are everywhere now. Some say White feels threatened by the spotlight. Others swear she's trying to humble Clark by dimming the shine of her teammates. A few even argue White just flat out doesn't like certain personalities and uses rotations as her weapon of choice. True or not almost doesn't matter, because perception is reality. And right now, the perception is simple. Stephanie White has lost the plot. What makes it sting even worse is the timing. The Fever aren't coasting in the playoff race. They are hanging by a thread. One bad week and they are gone. So every decision, every rotation, every single minute matters. And in that kind of high-stakes moment, the plan is to keep Chloe Bibby chained to the bench. Please, that's not strategy, that's ego. Now, compare that to what other teams are doing. Take the New York Liberty. Sandy Brundelow runs a system everyone understands. Roles are clear, shooters are unleashed, and her stars shine brighter because of it. Look at Golden State. Brand new franchise, already competitive, because their coach actually knows how to balance rotations. Meanwhile, the Fever look like they're making it up on the fly, like White is spinning a wheel before tip-off. Tonight, Lexi Hull gets 30 minutes. Tomorrow, Chloe gets 0. Why? Who knows? Call it matchup magic, baby. And fans are done with it. One tweet cut straight to the bone. The WNBA keeps begging for people to take them seriously. And then you see this clown show. Ouch. But tell me, are they wrong? You can't claim you're building a professional league while admitting half your teams don't even have scouts. You can't scream about growth while letting coaches bench proven shooters in must-win games with no explanation. And you definitely can't expect fans to keep buying in when the decisions look personal instead of professional. But here's the real kicker: this isn't just about one bad rotation. This affects Caitlin Clark's future. Everyone knows she's the golden ticket. The WNBA has been cashing in on the Clark effect for 2 straight seasons. But here's the reality: stars don't stay patient forever. If Clark feels like the Fever are wasting her time, if she feels like her own coach is sabotaging her, the clock starts ticking. We've seen this movie before: Luka in Dallas, LeBron in Cleveland the first time. Stars want to win. They don't stick around to play babysitter for bad coaching. And make no mistake, right now the Fever front office is sleepwalking through a crisis. They've got a superstar carrying the weight of the entire league, and instead of protecting her, instead of building a system that lifts her up, they're letting Stephanie White tank games with nonsense rotations. That's not sustainable. Not for Clark. Not for Fever fans. Not for the WNBA. And you can feel it in Clark's body language. Go back and watch those last 2 losses. She's frustrated. She's barking at teammates. She's throwing her hands up when wide open looks don't drop. That's not immaturity. That's a competitor realizing she's battling uphill against her own team. And if this keeps going, it won't just be Fever fans calling for White's job. It'll be national media. It'll be broadcasters. It'll be anyone who refuses to see Clark's prime wasted on bad coaching. So, where does that leave us? Honestly, at a crossroads. Stephanie White can either swallow her pride, start rolling out the best players, and admit her defensive obsession isn't working. Or she can keep doubling down, keep pushing fans away, and watch the Fever sink out of playoff contention. And if that happens, the blame won't fall on Caitlin. It won't fall on Chloe Bibby. It'll land squarely on White. And rightfully so. Because when you're the coach, your job is to maximize talent, not make it personal, not get petty with your own bench, and definitely not sabotage the one player the league can't afford to lose. So, what's your take? Is Stephanie White sabotaging Caitlin Clark's rise, or is this just clueless coaching? Either way, the Fever's playoff hopes are dangling by a thread, and Clark deserves better. Drop your thoughts below. Smash that like button if you're sick of the nonsense, and don't forget to subscribe for more unfiltered takes.